Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection. Today what I'd like to do is talk about the new Christopher Ward watch, the C12 Loco, and the movement CW003. The watch is noticeable right away because both the balance and the escapement are, you can see them right through the dial on the top, and then above the balance wheel, you can see there's the time, the hour and the minute. It doesn't have a second hand. It comes in four different colors, orange, blue, white, and black, and then it has four rubber bands that are also the same four colors, as well as one of the other options is you can get a steel bracelet. So there's been a lot of talk about this and comparisons with the MB&F with the same elements on top. You can see again the balance wheel and the escapement, which is really the heart of the watch. And so that's sort of a cool thing especially for collectors. I don't know if others see it in the same way as we might, but it's very interesting. Well, let's take a closer look at it now. Here in the dial, there you have the balance wheel just below the top, right in the middle about, I would say on the right, between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock, you have this single bridge, and then in the middle of it you have this free-spun balance wheel. And then you can see barely, in the back, you can see the hairspring for it. And then below that, the bottom part of the balance, you can see the pallet fork, and then below that is the escape wheel, or the escapement wheel. So this is not your typical watch. I mean, this without your, Armstrong and MB&F and a few others have this kind of look to it. And there's a lot of excitement, and I was wondering, well, what is it about this watch that makes it interesting? Well, first of all, for me, the fact that you can see the balance wheel and the balance, the hairspring and the pallet fork and the escapement. You can see all of those, and they're the heart of any mechanical movement. And the thing about it is that I think it's very important to understand the movements. If you're a watch collector, those are the basic elements of how the whole thing works. And you can begin to see this in the C12 Loco, and I like that idea. Now, the Calibre CW003 is sort of interesting. One of the things that threw me, they said they were stacked on top of each other, the two barrels. And in looking at what they meant, when the watch is held like this, you have one barrel up here and one barrel down here. So I thought they were stacked this way instead of like this. And from the back, you have another just very clear view of the rest of the movement. The Calibre CW003 uses finger bridges, which I absolutely love. The reason I like finger bridges is that they're small, or they don't cover the rest of the movement. You can see that that great big plate over at, I guess from here it looked like it's over toward 8 o'clock, and you can't see anything underneath it. Most watches, that's what you get to see. Is in the back you see nothing but this, some big plate or big fat bridges. Here you have the finger bridges, and for both of the barrels, as well as the center wheel and the second wheel, and just down underneath that. Now, here is the thing that I'm not too sure about. I'm not as a problem, but rather as information that wasn't exactly clear, either from Christopher Ward or anybody else. One article I read about it, they said, well, it's got double barrels in parallel, and that gives it 144-hour reserve. Well, with parallel constant force that you'll have. And so I really like double barrels in parallel. You find it in watches like FP Journe and some others like that. And then looking at the arrangement, it looked like that they are, yes, indeed, they are in parallel. But then the 6 day power reserve, that's usually when you get that with it when they're aligned in sequence. So to tell you the truth, it does look like double barrels in parallel, but it may be in sequence for that longer reserve that they have. And so anyway, this is the kind of thing that I always get upset with watch companies. Why don't they just tell us, yes, it's got double barrels, but it's very important to know whether they're in series or they're in parallel. And the article that says they're in parallel, that gives them the extra amount of time. That's not right. If they're in sequence, what happens, or in series, one runs out and then the other one takes over. And so that is how you get the longer power reserve. In parallel, you get a much better constant force. In other words, it's better for accurate timekeeping, but you don't get as much. You get roughly the same amount that you'd get with a single barrel. But anyway, the fact that you can look at this and it's so clear on the back, you can see the whole movement front and back. So this is, congratulations to Christopher Ward on this one. I really like it. Now, looking at, they talk about a bespoke balance and hairspring. Yes, and they talk about precision engineering, PEG, but they really don't say how good these guys are. I mean, precision engineering makes the hairsprings not only for H. Moser, they make them for Caribou and Lana, and they make them for MB&F and some other companies that, like to say, well, we're not going to tell you who made our springs. They're all in-house. Which generally is not the case. Here, and thank you very much, Christopher Ward, for telling us this. Yeah, this is from Precision Engineering. Now, the hairspring, if you're probably both of them, I know the balance is, they said it was, but the hairspring is probably is another one by Precision Engineering, and it's most likely made from, it's called NiFi, which is niobium and iron, and it's an alloy called Elenvar. Now, it's not the same as a Straumann hairspring, which is made out of niobium and titanium, but it's still an excellent hairspring. So this is another thing. And let me just say this, it's bespoke. One of the things, there is so much pressure on, it's got to be in-house, it's got to be in-house. If I would rather have something exactly this, I'd rather have a balance wheel and a hairspring from Precision Engineering than just about any other. More so than all of the others. But some of the ones that we recognize as the very best are, in fact, from these guys in the first place, and they're quiet about it. Okay. Finally, we can take a look at the specs here of the Model C12. The major thing, 41 millimeters, to me that's fine. I know some people it might be a little big, but yeah, it's not that bad. Steel, so you're not paying for precious metals. 3 ATM, 30 meters down, it's about 60 feet. It's not a diver, but that ought to be plenty for most use. I mean, if you fell to the bottom of the swimming pool with it, it'd be fine. The Calibre CW3 is sort of interesting because they have another caliber that I know of called the SH21. They said they're going to rename that CW-001. Okay. Reserve 144 hours. Again, this is why I suspect it's serial rather than parallel, but if it's parallel and with that kind of reserve, that's fantastic. 4 hertz, which is pretty standard. Anyway, I think it's a pretty cool watch. I'm glad they made it. And to me, it's an ideal collector's watch. Like to hear what you have to say or what you think about this. And it's an opportunity to subscribe if you like. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection.